men get torn apart by something quick and deadly. Aldous barely caught a glimpse of it. There was a loud cutting noise when it ran through their bodies. The two soldiers were chopped apart from something sharp. That much was clear to the soldier before he realized the pain in his abdomen. He yelled it out into his radio, and fortunately that was information too late. The men slowly realized their situation just as it came out for another round. Flesh tearing, skin ripping, blood spraying. The blade was chopping organs and cutting bodies in half. It cut through the crowd of armed, dangerous men like they were nothing, bringing death to an empty old space. It somehow brought a sick and twisted meaning to the empty woods, a place so secluded and alone being the stage for such a portrait of death. The blood dripped into the soil and immortalized the battle, the slaughter, his hunt, and like any other hunt the prey started to run off as fast as they could. As the blades chopped through the men, some tried to escape, but they were running from the wrong thing, because as powerful as they were less than their master. 4 men tried to run in 3 different directions. 2 of them are dead instantly, 1 by the blade, the other 2 by the hunter's bullet-like weapon, and the 4th leaves his body and runs into the dark. The man runs, the blades follow. He barely manages to duck before they hit. The blades misses him and 1 ricochets of a tree. It slows down and the man sees its shape, the 3-bladed shape of helicopter wings. With 1 of its wings chipped, it floats away into the night. The man feels safe for a moment. He forgets for a second that there are only a few of his friends left alive. The soldier gets up and just as he's on his feet the hunter appears behind him, a no-faced black mask-wearing body towering over the small human man. He takes out the man with a single twist of his wrist, grabbing onto the soldier's rib cage and cracking those ribs. The hunter takes him into the night. The scream is heard by everyone, the man from the car, the agent in charge, all the soldiers in the field and outside the fence. Hunter moves in the night, rapidly from shadow to shadow. The leaves are shaking, prickling all around, and then the corpse of the unit comes flying out, and then they see it. There was something in the forest, something deadly and dangerous. It came out of the shadow-covered trees, and stood still for all to see. A man clothed in black, covered in all his parts, carrying on him a large black metal weapon, not ones you'd expect from a soldier or a hunter, but ones you'd see in the hands of a warrior, a spear, and a deadly one in fact. His face was covered in black, not even an air hole is seen on the mask. He is tall, an athlete, strong and standing 7 feet tall. This creature, the hunter, was so very dangerous. He was the only one there. He was what killed the men and crashed the helicopter. He was what commanded the blades. He stood still in place watching them, then waiting for them to reload their ammunition. As the cartridge fit and stuck, time seemed to run slower than it should. As he stood there and watched the men struggling over a few simple tasks, it seemed like an hour had passed before they could do anything. He was not impressed. The men struggled to lock their aim onto the hunter before he could run away, but he didn't. He stood still and let them fire. All the bullets ran through him, and when it was all over, nothing seemed to have hurt the hunter. The man who stood in place and took a shower of burning metal without even reacting. The few men who survived clicked their triggers, unaware that they were empty. He started to walk, calmly approaching them. Okay, stop, we get it.
This concludes my prologue, I guess, of this idea I had for a movie, or a story, or a comic book. I think it'd work well as a comic book, so, stuff. Comment, tell your friends, stuff. Bye.